Welcome to Chrisley Confessions 2.0 with Todd
and Julie.
How are you today?
Good.
Well, I mean, you've been pretty good for the last couple of days. You've been a little bit friendlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've been a little bit friendlier.
Okay.
You haven't beaten me up anymore.
Yeah, he's only kidding.
Not really. So what are we going to talk about today? Because you had said, what are we going to talk about?
You know what? I feel like that we have a lot to talk about. Mm-hmm. We're getting into a really busy season of life, yes. I feel like. When we came home, it was kind of hit the ground running, hit the boots running. I was getting ready to say, hit the ground running. But I feel like we've kind of started to settle into somewhat of a routine.
Right.
And our schedules are getting really crammed.
Well, you said to me yesterday, if you ask me one more time what is on your schedule.
Yes, folks. So I manage his schedule and I put everything into a calendar. But he doesn't keep the calendar. So therefore, you ask a million times, what do I have today? What do I have tomorrow? Oh, I can do this today. No, you've got 3 other things that you have to do today. But it kind of I said yesterday, okay, you're starting to scare me because you're making me seem like I have my stuff together.
Because we all know she doesn't. But the calls come in, or the emails come in, or a text comes in, Todd, can you do this? Todd, would you be willing to do this? And certain things I'm willing to do and others I'm not willing to do. And I come to you and say, can I do this? Mm-hmm. Not, can I do it with you to give me permission?
But does your schedule
But does
allow
my
it?
schedule allow it?
Yeah.
And so I have been and I don't know if it's because I'm having this colonoscopy or whatever, that's why I'm stressing out, but I have this colonoscopy coming up.
You've got a crazy week. You have a big dental week. You're having some dental work done. Mm-hmm. You have a colonoscopy. Mm-hmm. And then on Friday, I'm so excited because we are going to Tuscaloosa for Parents Weekend.
Yes, and we're also doing another podcast before we leave, right?
Yes, we are doing a podcast on Friday before we leave, and then we're leaving to go to Tuscaloosa. And I am so excited because, we weren't there when Grayson went to college. Mm-hmm. He went in January of 25? Mm-hmm. So we were still away. So we didn't get that initial move into college, but we did get when he moved into his place in August. So that was something that we weren't counting on being able to do this soon. So I am so grateful, and I can't wait. So you haven't actually been to a college in Tuscaloosa.
But why have I not gone?
Well, because it's a lot of people for you. And it's going to be a whole lot of people. I mean, anybody knows, whether you are an Alabama fan or not, football Saturdays in Tuscaloosa are like nothing you've ever seen. I mean, we grew up in South Carolina. We grew up right there going to Clemson games. But still, nothing compared to Tuscaloosa. It is insane.
Well, I mean, we went down, we moved him in.
Right.
And I focused on getting his room, getting everything done with the room, and making sure it was clean and mopped and all the stuff that you have to do, and making sure his clothes was organized. So I'm going to see when I get there if he has adhered to the way I set everything up. I already know the answer to this. Right. But Grayson, if you're listening, I will be there this Friday evening, so that room better be clean. But I had said to you yesterday when we were pulling out of the driveway, because we kind of had a day date.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and I said, this is really our first holiday being home.
Yeah.
Which, I don't really consider Halloween a holiday. No. It's not my thing.
No.
But it is our first, because you you decorate for it and whatever for the kids. But it's our first, real kind of holiday, quasi-holiday, being home. And then we have Thanksgiving, which is like your big time. And then we have Christmas, which is all their big times because they don't have to do nothing for me. But it is kind of, I was asked last week, Todd, does does anything trigger you?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't really have that. And we've talked about that on the podcast. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't really have that. But now I think that I do. It's certain moments that are triggers for me, that to where I'm like, I can't believe I'm home.
Yeah.
We're really home.
Yeah.
So, that's those moments, and like this Halloween thing coming up is kind of a thing for me.
Well, because I will tell you, for me, the holidays were the worst times for me.
I knew they would be, because you've always been the holiday. She's always been the holiday for everyone in our family. Right. I mean, you've always made sure that the house was decorated for Halloween, that you went all out outside, and then all that came down, and then, you had what I said was the gay mafia that swarmed on our house and started putting trees up and decoration in, mid-November. And we had that until Christmas Day. Then we would have Christmas morning, and then we'd leave and go to the house in Florida and come back, and everything would be taken down, and we'd start the new year. So I knew that was going to be a hard time for you.
Yeah.
Those really were not my hard times. Birthdays was my hard time.
Birthdays were hard for me too. But that really, like, from October, which is like Halloween through New Year's, it was horrible. So, I'm super grateful to be home, but I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited. I love to go down there and just hang out with Gray. She loves
tens of thousands of people.
No, it's not that. I love going in because it's his element now.
Yeah, but why have you and Savannah? Because both of y'all now, because you're starting to give me anxiety, because you started yesterday, and she just said something a while ago and looked at me. She goes, I don't think you realize what you're getting into.
Right, because it is a lot of people. It's a lot of people, and it's a lot of people that have grown up watching our show. So, it's going to be a lot, and it's going to be a whole lot this weekend because it's Parents' Weekend. So even
I feel like
more
I'm going to be. What day do I need to be sick on?
No day you need to be sick on.
So that's kind of what we've got planned for the coming up, and then we'll be in LA for about 3 weeks shooting another show.
Yep.
And so that's going to actually be what I think is going to be a good time, because it's just me and you.
Right. And we really haven't had that since we've been home. So I'm actually looking forward to that too, because
that's just going to be me and you.
We haven't had that.
And we love LA.
Right.
I don't love all the LA politics, but we love LA.
Right.
And
it'll be a great time of the year to go. Yes. It'll be cool, and
we can go hike Runyon's Canyon.
We do get out and walk a lot when we're there, and it'll be nice. It's crazy how the number on the bathroom scale just ruins your day. I made an exciting discovery that changed all that. I stopped focusing on weight and put my energy into reshaping and rediscovering my body's true potential. Creatone by Brickhouse Nutrition was created by doctors specifically for women. Creatone helps me look more toned, defined, and sculpted without increasing diet and exercise. Yes, folks, without increasing diet and exercise. Creatone is radically different from Guy's creatine. It's designed for women with pure creatine and patented ingredients that reshape your body so you look leaner, trimmer, and more toned. No water retention, no weight gain, no bulking up. And it boosts metabolism to help you burn fat. That's a plus. Break up with your bathroom scale and watch how fast Creatone can help you look leaner, toned, and sculpted. Let's get you started with 20% off your first order. Visit tonetoday.com and use my code Chrisley for your discount. Again, use my code Chrisley to save 20% off at tonetoday.com. That's TONE today.com.
If you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud on the rise called title theft. And your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document, use a fake notary stamp, and file it with the county. And just like that, on record, they own your home. Using your ownership, they can take out loans against your equity or even sell your property, and you don't know about it until foreclosure or collection notices show up in the mail. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock, so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Use my promo code Chrisley at HometitleLock.com and you'll get a free title history report and a free title of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's a 24/7 monitoring of your title records. Urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud occurs, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Folks, there's thieves out here. I'm not one of them. But don't allow someone to come in and steal the equity that you've worked your whole life to build. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code Chrisley, or use the link below. Then let's talk about like the big monumental thing that just happened. My friend, Melvin Williams, is home.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes. So those of you who follow Todd, you saw it on your Instagram. That was a really big deal for you.
It was, because I gave him my word. You know, Melvin and I worked together in the chapel, and well, I'm going to rephrase that. Melvin worked in the chapel. I just showed up and talked to him. But Melvin was truly railroaded by the Department of Justice during that time, during the Obama administration, and a highly decorated police officer. The perpetrator that he was after, the guy had all these drugs, and when he saw Melvin and them, coming after him, he swallowed the drugs. He died, and Melvin and them was put on trial for this, which is something that we're working on right now. I'm working on a documentary about Melvin's case and about the injustices that went on for him. And he's the most humble, kind man who was a devout Catholic. And literally, he prayed for his family every day. He prayed for the country. He's just a good person. So Melvin would say, I'd say, Melvin, I said, if you get out first, I said, I think you'll get out first, because he should have already been home. And he said, no, he said, I have it in my spirit that you're going home. He would always say that. Mm-hmm. He and Chaplain Dixon would always say, you're not going to be here long. There's something's in my spirit. You're not going to be here long. And thank God and President Trump and our daughter, it was long enough. But I would say to Melvin, I said, well, if I go first, I will not leave you behind. I will do everything in my power to get you home. And as God would have it, I did go first. And it was important for me to live up to my commitment to our friendship, that I help him get home. And I would not, folks, have been able to have done any of this without Director William Marshall, who is the director of the Bureau of Prisons, and the staff that he has put together, Rick Stover, who is over FSA, Josh Smith. Through their help and them looking at the FSA and looking at Melvin's calculations, it was uncovered that Melvin, which is amazing to me, because it's not amazing, it's not even shocking at the level of incompetence with the Bureau of Prison and these case managers. And I think that the director is actually seeing that, and Rick Stover is seeing that with these case managers. It's one of two things. They're either too ignorant to have the job because they can't count when they run out of fingers and toes, they're screwed. But it's either that or it's intentional. It's intentional. And that they won't give these men and women what President Trump says they're entitled to.
It's just baffling to me. Like, I can't imagine having a job, any kind of job, and I can honest and truthfully say this, any kind of job that I have ever had since I was old enough to work, and I have worked since I was old enough to work. Mm-hmm. I have tried to do my very best in that job. Even when I was in prison, I did the very best that I could do by my job, what my job was. I don't understand why, as a case manager, that you, just as a human being, would not look at these people and say, okay, they are in prison. They have been sentenced here. They have done their time. I'm going to do everything I can to get these people home. when they should be home. You're not giving them anything. They have earned this
It's what
time.
they've earned. It's what President Trump and Congress said, you must give these men and women these days.
I just don't understand it. And, they have I've heard case managers say, it's only a week. It's only a month. It's only 3 months. Every day that you are there longer than what you should be is a day too long.
That's right. And looking into Melvin's case and his assessments, he was under Janet Genilat, who was a worthless case manager at FPC Pensacola. Then Miss Bertrand, who was a good, decent lady that I really did have a lot of respect for. And then he went under Miss Washington. Now, I like Miss Washington. I got along fine with her. But looking into his, everything that was submitted on him, she gave him not 1 day of Second Chance Act. He's entitled to 12 months.
Yeah.
He's entitled to 12 months Second Chance Act.
And keep in mind, folks, this is a man that's been in prison for years.
14 years. And so he's entitled to his 12 months for Second Chance Act on top of his First Step Act that President Trump put in. And she didn't even give him his Second Chance Act. And that infuriated me because I like her. She's always been so nice and so pleasant to deal with. But then to see that, knowing how many times that I went in every month to say to her, where are you with Mr. Williams stuff?
Right.
Where are you with getting him, did you give him the maximum?
Right. There's just too much leeway. There's too much leeway that these case managers have that basically they have your life in their hands, your freedom in their hands.
And these are people that they just don't have the qualifications to be hired by anyone else. I've never seen such ignorance in my life. It's so rampant within the Bureau of Prisons, the lack of education for these individuals.
But it's just this callousness.
Well, I told you it's because they in school, they were the fat kid in school. They were the ugly kid in school. They were the non-athletic kid in school. They basically were the window lickers. So, at the end of the day, that's what you've got now working at the Bureau of Prisons, a bunch of window lickers. And they don't even get that right. So, but yet here they are being the ones to say, okay, you should go home on this day. Or let's do the 5-factor review, which, folks, is, are you homeless? Do you have a home to go to? What is your crime? There's 5.
But it's still left open for a lot of interpretation.
And you are giving people that are ignorant, that don't understand. A lot of the case managers where I was at, I don't know that they had the bandwidth to actually read the First Step Act and comprehend it. That's the level of the lack thereof of intelligence.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think a lot of them are never trained properly.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. They have been given training. I watched these sorry-ass people. They would be given a date that they were supposed to have training. They would go and log in on their computers and get up and walk away or get on their phones. So that's not true.
Okay.
And I can tell you now that under the First Step Act, that the director rolled out a whole new training program. Because this way now, there's going to be no excuse for when you screw up on a man or woman's time calculations.
Right.
Because you can't say, I didn't have the proper training.
Right.
Because you've been given this proper training.
Right.
And now the director is sending his people out to the facilities, auditing these files to catch these case managers not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's just like, the guy Dean, the one I'm not supposed to be talking about because he hates the word Dean, and I don't know why, because Dean's his last name. Not doing his job there, not at Ashland in Kentucky. Dean is a sorry-ass case manager. Genilat was a sorry-ass case manager and an abuser, and should not, I understand she's trying to get on with the Pardons and Parole Board now because she's not been invited to stay at the Bureau of Prisons. But if you're watching, and I know you're watching me, Janet, I'm going to make sure that my voice is heard with the Pardons and Parole Board to make sure that you do not get a job there, because now you'll be lording over men's freedom there. And you hate men so much that that's what you do.
Let's be honest. We all blame the dog, but sometimes it's the kids, sometimes it's you with the wine glass. Either way, the Green Mint Kit from Clean Safe Products is the easiest way to keep your fabrics looking brand new in 5 minutes or less. The process is simple. Spray the solution, wipe, rinse the mitt, and repeat. If you can clean a kitchen counter, you can clean your couch. It works on carpets, couches, car seats, wool rugs, delicate upholstery, even dry clean only materials. Avoid the nightmare of bleach spots or harsh chemical sprays in your living room. The Green Mint Kit is non-toxic, fragrance-free, and made with just 3 ingredients. And because it's soap-free, there's no sticky residue, so stains don't magically reappear the next day. It's safe for kids and every soft surface you love. It removes the spots and the stress that comes with having nice things in a messy household. And it lasts forever. 1 bottle of concentrate makes up to 16 full-size bottles of the soft surface cleaner. Try it risk-free. Clean, Safe Products offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. I actually love it. I got it in the mail. I mixed it, and it does last forever, folks. And you know, there's always just that little spot on the sofa or a little stain on the carpet. And you know what? Todd never even notices, because guess what? It doesn't reappear. So go to cleansafeproducts.com/Chrisley to get $15 off the Green Mint Kit. That's cleansafeproducts.com/Chrisley for $15 off the world's easiest soft surface cleaning solution. Okay, let's talk about something super important, your health. You want more energy, better focus, less stress. It all starts in your gut, because when your gut is out of whack, everything feels off. Your mood, your digestion, your sleep, everything. And that's why we love Just Thrive Probiotic. Most probiotics never make it to your gut alive, but Just Thrive is clinically proven to arrive in your gut 100% alive and actually work. For you, that means less bloat, healthy immunity, and that steady feel-good energy to tackle your day. So here's our challenge for you. Try Just Thrive Probiotic for 90 days, 100% risk-free, and see how much better you feel. Don't just take our word for it. Take control of your gut and take control of everything else. You'll see. Head to justthrivehealth.com/confessions to save 20% and start your 90-day Just Thrive challenge today. If you don't love the way you feel, ask for a full product refund, no questions asked, because when you fuel your gut, you fuel your life. That's justthrivehealth.com/confessions. So let's get back to the happy part. Melvin got to go home.
Melvin did get to go home, but Melvin should have already gone home.
Yes.
And due to the ignorance, the neglect, the abuse of power, he did not go home. He is now home. So that was a happy day.
Right, and you actually got to have his first meal with him.
Me and Savannah and I flew to Miami. We went to the prison to pick him up. I will say the staff there at that greeted me when I walked in were polite and cordial. And Melvin walked out, which you guys have seen on my Instagram, and so humble. And he said, "This is happening. This is happening." And I said, "It's happening." And I says, "Do not look over your shoulder, because what's behind you is far less than what's in front of you."
Yeah.
And so he had on these grays, which is what I walked out with. And
that's what you have to walk out. I mean, I guess you can get clothes.
No, you can. You
whatever,
can have clothes brought in.
Yeah.
And so he walked out. So the first thing we did was take him to get him his first meal. And he loved his food that he got. And then we took him to Lululemon, and I dressed him so that he would have a couple of outfits and be able to get on the plane with some pride and some dignity. And Savannah ran and bought him a backpack from Toomey and had it monogrammed with a wallet. And I put some cash, because, you know, my Aunt Frances always said you don't ever give someone a wallet without putting money in it. Mm-hmm. So I put him some cash in his wallet so he'd have that if he got stuck in the airport or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so he's at home now, and it was such a blessing because his mother...
Is he at home or is he at...
He's in halfway house.
Okay.
Which will, hopefully he will not be there long. But he was able to make it home to his mother, who is very ill. And he used to pray every day, "God, please do not let my mother pass away while I'm in prison." And so he was able to make it home to see her, to see his wife and his children. And so that's a blessing.
Yeah.
And I have another kid that's going home to Bowling Green in Kentucky. I got his dates changed. Again, through the desire of the director, William Marshall,
to implement
what President Trump put in 2018. Now, folks, whether you hate President Trump or whether you love President Trump, it's about humanity. So whether you're on the left or the right, both sides should always take into consideration the human level of what's going on
right.
in life.
Of giving people second chances.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is not violent crimes. This is not somebody that used a gun. This is not somebody that abused a child. There's none of that.
No.
There's no violence to qualify for FSA.
Right. And this is a bill, the First Step Act, that the Republicans and the Democrats passed bipartisan.
Yeah.
That when the hell do you ever get any of them to agree on anything?
Right.
But this one bill, they all agreed on.
Yeah.
But yet under the Biden administration, they basically were not doing it.
Yeah.
Because they could not give President Trump that glory of being able to say that what he passed
and a
was
lot
right.
of people suffered for it.
And people suffered for that. And folks, again, you don't have to love me because I'm a Republican. I don't have to hate you because you're a Democrat. I need to love you Christ-like. I need to love you because you are my brother and sister in Christ. I need to love you because you're a human being. And I don't want to be mean or cruel to anyone.
Right.
And to hold someone hostage because of their political beliefs, or to chastise someone because of their political beliefs or their religious beliefs.
Right.
That's not a country that I want to be a part of.
Right.
I want to be a part of a people that embraces each other, that we embrace our differences.
And that we embrace the difference.
That's right.
That we embrace
because the differences is what makes the world go round. It's what evokes change and creation, and I love that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so that was a good week last week.
It was a good week.
Yeah.
And like I said, I have this kid coming home from Bowling Green. Spoke to his parents yesterday, again, through the assistance of Rick Stover and Billy Marshall. And I have, right now, I think there's about 38 guys that have gone home due to recalculations of dates. This month alone, dates will change in the thousands. Men and women will get new dates, and it will affect thousands of men and women.
So excited.
That is God's work.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
And so, so many people have respond to me on social media, and they're like, Todd, this is your calling. This is what you need to be doing. You turned a negative into a positive. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. And would you ever walk away from television and let this be your life's mission? I don't know, because I think right now that I can do both.
Right.
And I think right now that with me being on television allows my voice to be amplified more for these men and women who don't have that.
Right.
I was saying to this parents yesterday, they said, and folks, this mother messaged me on Instagram. Do you remember that morning?
Yeah.
And I was reading it, and I was literally laying there in the bed with you, and I started crying because I could feel this mother's pain.
Yeah.
And I sent her a message and said, can you please give me your number? I'd like to call you. And so I blocked my number because I don't know who I'm dealing with. And I called her. And this woman is such a devout Christian, the whole family. They're such faithful servants. And now their son is coming home. And she said to me, she said, I love what you're doing. She says, because I feel like that you got my message before people could really start blowing you up. Mm-hmm. But now my heart goes out to those that you may not see their message.
Right.
Well, just so you know, I do see your messages. What am I doing every day?
Yeah, you're working.
I scroll those messages.
Yeah.
I asked for reg numbers, full names. I then copy and paste that over to the Bureau and say, you need to look at this. These dates need to be looked at. I've calculated it. This is not right. So it's every day. So if you have a loved one that is incarcerated in the federal system, I do encourage you to reach out. If I don't respond to you, it's not that I've not seen your message. but I don't need to respond to you if you give me the reg number and you give me the name. I'm going to send that over to make sure that those dates are being calculated correctly. Because as I said, I have zero confidence in the case managers. It's incompetence at its finest. So, but I do have faith in Grand Prairie, which, is the central office. I do have faith in them only because Rick Stover, who is over FSA, has put together this task force to recalculate these numbers.
Right.
And he is doing a good job.
Right.
And I think that people don't give him enough credit. This is a system that's been broken the Bureau of Prisons has been broken since day one. But the First Step Act was enacted in 2018. He just inherited this.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't cut him any slack in my interview with him, which is going to air, because my thing with him was, but you were with the Bureau for 20-something years. What did you do when you knew that this First Step Act was not being implemented? That wasn't that's not what he was doing at that time.
Right.
But now it is his wheelhouse. It's his bailiwick. It's what he's doing.
Right.
And when I call him, he picks that phone up and I say, you need to look at this kid, or you need to look at this date here. This man's been in jail, been in prison for 25 years. He's elderly. He's got these many issues. He should qualify under the Elderly Act. And he looks at those things, and I get a response for him. So I think that the people that are watching what he's doing, he needs to be granted some grace on that too. He's one man with a small task force to check 158,000 calculations.
Yeah.
So I want him to get that credit for that.
Right. Every hardworking American family deserves financial security, especially in today's uncertain economic climate. We're Todd and Julie Chrisley, and on Chrisley Confessions 2.0, we're all about family and future. Like you, we believe in protecting our legacy and preparing for tomorrow. That includes making smart choices about our finances. You've likely built your retirement on paper dollars, a currency that simply doesn't hold its value like it used to. Meanwhile, inflation quietly erodes your family's future with each passing day. But there's a time-tested way to protect what you've earned. Genesis Gold Group offered us the financial protection that forward-thinking Americans need today. They showed us how the current monetary system puts our hard-earned savings at risk, while physical gold has maintained value through every economic crisis in history. We're converting our retirement to physical gold because our family's security must be built on something real, something that can't be devalued by forces beyond our control. Don't let another day pass without securing what you've worked so hard to build. Sensible families like ours are taking control of their financial future. Visit ChristleyLovesGold.com today for your free Family Wealth Protection Gold Guide and join thousands of Americans who protected their legacy with real assets. That's ChristleyLovesGold.com, where families preserve what matters most.
A lot, we did the Tamron Hall show since we did our podcast.
Yes.
And I felt like that, Tamron asked a couple of questions that were, I don't know. I didn't particularly care for the style of the way they were asked, but I love her, and she's always been very kind and gracious to us.
Right.
But she asked, one of the questions that she asked was, but what are you doing, since you've left prison? And I said, I do quite a bit. And I says, but I don't feel the need to come and sit on your sofa and disclose some man's, or because I deal with, mostly men. I'm working with some of the women that were at your facility now. I don't feel it's my job.
Right.
I say it about Melvin because Melvin has given me permission to talk about him. But I don't talk about the other men that I have gotten home.
That's their story.
That's their story to tell.
Right.
Now, I do want them to come on the podcast if they want to, and to be able to talk about what their journey was and where they are today and what it took to get them home. And we're going to be doing a big podcast, in I think it's going to probably end up being in November, to where a large number of men that I was incarcerated with is coming to Nashville, and it's going to be a large podcast for this event, and I am going to get to speak to them directly. It'll be the first time I've seen them. I have one of my dear friends that I was there in prison with, worked in the chapel with me and Melvin, Jason Pierce, who's got an album coming out, and he wrote all of these songs, folks. I encourage you to go and download his music. Jason Pierce, Pears, like pears. I encourage you to go listen to his music and the story that his music tells, because it literally rips your heart out and it touches your soul. He's going to be on the podcast. He's going to be performing a couple of his songs. He wrote all this music for this album because he's written songs for Gaga and many other ones out there. He wrote this whole album in prison.
That's crazy.
I'm
excited for that.
On a bad piano that was out of tune. And he still made it work. Yeah. So I'm excited to speak to him one-on-one and to hear him perform.
Right.
We've reached out to Jelly Roll to see if he'd like to participate in this. And so I'm really excited about that.
Right.
But it's not my job to tell these men's stories. If it's their desire and I can be used
to
and what we have can amplify their story, then I want us to do that.
Right.
But it's not my job to sit on a talk show host sofa and start naming the 38 men that I've helped get home since May the 28th. It's not my place to divulge what their privacy that their family may want to maintain.
Right.
So,
well, this is not about patting yourself on the back. This is about helping the ones that we left behind.
That's exactly right. And I say, I left you behind temporarily. In my heart, you're still with me. You travel with me everywhere I go. But physically, I got to come pick you up.
Right.
So, I have gotten several people's dates have changed in the last 2 weeks. And, I'm getting it from, information, oh my God, you did it. You got me. I'm coming home, a year early. Folks, I'm not doing it. It's not me. It is President Trump's First Step Act.
Right.
It's Billy Marshall saying we must follow the law.
Right.
And now they're being forced to do this. I like to say that God is using me to shed light on what's not being done.
Right.
Not to shed light to make this be done, but to show you what you're not doing.
Right.
And then look at the law and say, now you're breaking the law.
Right.
Your ass should be in prison.
Right.
If we're going to live by this standard of no one's above the law, that means people within the Bureau of Prisons are not above the law.
Right.
So if you're abusing a man or a woman that's in the custody of the Bureau of Prisons, you're breaking the law. If you are not giving these men and women what they're entitled to under the First Step Act or the Second Chance Act, you are breaking the law. If you are a warden, a worthless piece of shit like Sherry Salisbury was, who I wanted to touch on that. This woman is now working in Alabama. Governor Kay, I got a call into you. Look into Sherry Salisbury. Look into the nonprofit that she and her wife was going to do in Arizona. Why did that not happen? Look into her disciplinary records or her personnel records with the Bureau of Prisons. You have now in your state hired an abuser to be at Fountain Prison in Alabama to abuse again. I love Alabama. Governor Kay, you know that my son is at Alabama. Step up. Do the right thing. She should not be allowed to work in your state. She should not be allowed to work with men and women incarcerated ever again. So I want to put that out there for you. But I think that overall, where we are right now, that I do see the ship turning a little bit.
Yeah.
And you see it because you're at home with me and you hear the phone calls and you see the emails that I get of people going home. So the tide is turning.
Yeah.
It is turning.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because I do get on a soapbox. I will say that. I will acknowledge that I will probably reside on a soapbox for the rest of my life when it comes to the Bureau of Prison and the abuse. I did want to say this, because I just vented about this yesterday. When you are messaging me, I'm working with you to make changes within the Bureau of Prisons. And a lot of you are reaching out to me because you have a loved one that's incarcerated in a state.
Yes.
I am not working with state prisons right now. I do have 4 states that have reached out to me to work with them on their correctional reform. But I have not started that yet and will not start it until after the first of the year. I am putting together a team of people that can work with me formerly incarcerated individuals that are accountants per trade, that are accountants, that were heads of Fortune 500 companies, that were medical doctors, because I want them involved when it comes to the medical care. So I'm putting together a group that's going to be a team. We are not prison consultants, because I'm going to tell you something about prison consultants. Prison consultants, a lot of times, they are built up of formerly incarcerated individuals. And I just don't see a whole lot of benefit for that. We never had one, because I didn't need you to tell me what I need to look out for, because you're not going to tell me how to change it, because you can't change it. But yet you're wanting to take, I know some prison consultants that are charging $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
Before someone goes to prison.
Right.
Prison consultants, in my opinion, should do it for free. Because that is truly doing God's work, when you are helping to lift your brother and sister up, and to help them to benefit from what your hard times
So
were.
if you are a woman out here and something has happened and you are looking at going to prison, please reach out to me. Send me a message on Instagram. I will give you as much information as I can possibly give you as it pertains to what I went through.
Right. And so I just don't believe in prison consultants, because they put a lot of propaganda out there, and they also instill a lot of fear. And out of fear, you start giving your money over, thinking they're going to protect you. They can't protect you. No. And if you're going to a camp, you don't need protection. I mean, you're just going to a busted YMCA. So at the end of the day, I just feel like that the tides are turning, and I want to help people within the state prison, but I'm not going to charge. I'm not going to give you advice and say you got to send me money. I'm getting all kinds of messages, as Savannah and I have for the last couple of months, about, prison consultants charging and saying they're going to file documents on behalf of these men and women in court, and that didn't happen, and yet the money's already gone and what have you. You do what you want to do. I'm just telling you that I don't know that that's necessary. I would rather have a good criminal attorney that's held accountable by a bar association and by an ethics code that I'm going to be turning my money over to.
Right.
That's just kind of how I feel. So let's talk quickly about Chase. I wanted Chase to be on here today, but Chase couldn't be on this podcast today because he was alligator hunting yesterday.
Yes.
And bow fishing the night before, and it was done at nighttime. And he was it was a group of people, and Terrence, who was one of the guys that I was in prison with, Terrence lives on like an hour away from where Chase was going to be doing this in Louisiana. And so he drove up there and ended up going out gator hunting with Chase and the other guys. And it was so funny. This footage that Chase was sending us is hilarious. But a lot of you have asked, how is Chase doing? How's my baby doing?
He looks really good. He's doing really good. I think the videos that have been posted that he's even put out there, you can just see the light in his eyes.
Yes. So
and that's a blessing.
My baby is back. And but I also don't want to minimize that.
Right.
Because Chase had a problem with alcohol. And I think you always have it. I think you always have it.
Yeah.
But
so it's a day-to-day.
It's a day-to-day thing, and he is sober right now, and he looks great. He's up to 162 pounds, and so he looks healthy and happy, and I deal with him every day. I work out with him, 3 days a week, and I love and cherish that time. I told you, I said, it feeds my soul to be with him, and just me and him have that one-on-one time together doing the working out. And I'm just so grateful that he is doing so well.
Right.
And to see the light back in his eyes and to hear the joy coming from him.
Right.
And the plans and excitement about living again.
Yes.
That's a joy that unless you're a parent, you will never understand it. When I watch Savannah, she's just a machine. Savannah is always, she is just brilliant. She's beautiful and she's charismatic and she's me. She's just a good, decent, kind soul. But she's on her business. She's
Right.
about her business.
Yeah.
And she's about business. She stands on business, that this is the way it's going to be. And Savannah had to administer some tough love.
Right.
Something that you and I was never able to do.
Yeah.
Even when we were out,
Yeah.
we did not administer that tough love.
Right.
And she did.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I believe that Savannah is the one who got his attention, because it was bothering him so bad that she would not communicate with him.
Right.
And Daddy, she's just mean. But I think that it took that and her taking that stand.
Definitely one thing, yes.
To get his attention.
Right.
And so many of the viewers, was like, oh my God, she's picking on him or whatever. And
again, they saw one tiny little bit.
Right.
You didn't know what she was dealing with outside those cameras.
Right, exactly. And I'm just grateful that she stood her ground.
Yeah.
Because she, at that time, was able to tell him no.
Right.
To where you and I have never been able to tell him no.
Yep. That's so true.
So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Mama had fallen and had bruised a rib or whatever.
Yep.
And as she's back in the casino, folks, do not worry, the National Treasure is still alive and kicking.
Yes.
So she's doing well.
Yes.
Chloe's doing great.
Yep.
We're all really in a good place as of today.
Yeah, right now. Right now. It could change any moment, but right now everybody is good.
Exactly.
So we will keep you posted about this weekend and how Todd weathers the Alabama storm, if you will. So I think that's good, right?
I think it's really good. And, you're back because, so many people was like, oh my God, I don't see any light in her eyes or whatever. I think that was before you and I had sex after.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're not going down this vein. We're wrapping this podcast.
Well, but Tamron asked that. What was the first thing that we did?
Oh my God, yes. So I'm not sure.
So we're not gonna say that you got your back blowed out. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Okay, folks. So until next time.
On that note, until next time, good luck. God bless. Make sure you take good care of your back. And we'll see you next week.